Hey, amazing students. All right, guys. So this is one of the last lessons of the year. Big announcements. Don't forget, Alex and major grade reviews are due. I will send out those, make sure those due dates are with you. So after today, you should be able to do the whole major grade review and all of Alex as well. You're going to need to make sure you're listening to all notes and instructions for this because the assignment is pretty big. So let's get started with remembering what does all this mean? Let me see. I want to change some colors, y'all. Let's see. There we go. So y equals ab to the power of x. What does a represent? And remember, you should be talking with May. Initial amount, y-intercept. Okay. What does B represent? All right, this is my growth or decay factor. If it's growth, you know, B should be greater than 1. If it's decay, we know that B should be between 0 and 1. I'm going to rewrite that, make it look a little bit better. Okay. If it's decay, should be between 0 and 1. Okay. And we know that f of x or y is always the dependent variable. And what does it depend on? The x value. Okay, now, you should have this sheet of paper. It should be the substitute should have given it to you, or it should be at the front of the room. Please make sure everyone has this sheet of paper. All right, now what I'm about to show you, you're going to be like, what are you talking about? Okay, so just hang in there with me, and then I'll show you some example problems. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to a new letter. Aren't you excited? Oh, that's why that was so big. Anyways. Okay, R. R is the new letter. R. And R stands for rate. Rate. And this is always given to you as a percentage. So in the problem, when you read a word problem, it gives you a percentage that is your R value, not your B value. It's your R value, okay? And for this, we always have to change our percent into a decimal. Okay, so if you remember from 6th and 7th grade, Dr. Pepper, which stands for decimal percent, to go from a percent to a decimal, I moved the decimal 2 places to the left. Okay, so if I had 3.25%, I would take the decimal and move it 2 places to the left, and I would fill, there's my new decimal, and I would fill that empty spot with a 0. So that would turn into 0.0325, okay? So, percent to decimal, make sure you know how to do that. Okay, are we good so far? All right, so here's the thing. If in the problem it gives you the R value, so in a problem, if it gives you the R value, we can't put that into y equals a times b to the power of x, right? There is no R in there. So we have to convert it to b. In order to go from R to B, we're going to add 1. Okay? So 1 plus R would give us our B value. Okay, that's why I have it written right here in the formula. Okay, vice versa. If it's exponential decay, again, there is no R in the equation. So to get from R to B, I would do 1 minus R if it's exponential decay. Okay, so I'll give you a moment to kind of chew on that. Okay, and then here is the opposite. If I'm given the b value, but I want the percent, I want the r, how do I go using this equation right here? How would I solve for r? Well, I would subtract 1, right? So to get the r value, I would just do b minus 1. Okay? And I'll show you an example so you can understand. Okay, and then that would give me a decimal, and I would have to go from decimal to percent. So I have to move the decimal 2 places to the right. And over here, if I'm given the b value, but I want to get r, so think about it. If I know 1 minus r equals b, to get to r, from minus 1, that would give me negative r equals b minus 1. Divide by negative on both sides. R equals negative b plus 1. So you could say 1 minus b will give me that r value. Now I know that's a lot. You probably need to pause it. You need to slow it down, whatever you need to do. Okay? But let's do some example problems to hopefully understand this a little bit more. Okay? Please, please, please do not just copy what I'm saying and tune me out. Please listen, okay? The population in Grand Prairie in 1994 was 48,000. Okay, let's say that was the start, that's when Grand Prairie was founded. Okay, let's just say that. So if this is when Grand Prairie was founded and there started off 48,000 people, what does that 48,000 represent? And remember, think y equals a times b to the power of x. That would represent my a value, right? Because this is how much I started with, my y-intercept. Okay, so there's my a. Since then, the population has growth. Oh, it tells me it's growing, so this must be exponential growth. So 2 things, when I see this, exponential growth, I know that b has to be greater than 1, and it's 1 plus r if it gives me the r value. Okay, so those are 2 things immediately I'm going to write down. Okay, so I'm referring back to what we wrote up there in the table. At an average of 3.2% each year. Oh, there's a percentage, so what does this number represent? 3.2% represents the r value. The r value. So I need to convert this into b value, okay? So 3.2%, first I need to change it into a decimal. So move it 2 places to the left. And that's going to be 0.032. And because it's growth, I'm going to add 1. So that'll be 1.032. There's my b value. So I have my b value. I have my a value. So now I can write my equation. Write an equation that models this growth. Okay. So y equals 48,000, 1.032 to the power of x. There's my equation. Now where it says answer, it's asking you for the answer. We didn't finish reading the question. So it says, find the population in year 2015. Well, hold on, let's do some Miss Patterson, the mostness. What does x represent in this problem? I can't hear you. All right, it represents the years. What does y represent? The population. So if I'm looking for how much population in year 2015, am I plugging in 2015 into that x? No, I'm plugging in how many years that is since 1994, and that would be 21. Okay, so 48,000, 1.032 to the power of 21. Put that in the calculator. Don't wait for me to do it. Pause the video. Go put it in the calculator. Do the most. You already know. Okay, and that would be 93,000.8. Now we're just going to leave it like that. I don't feel like thinking about rounding, but the question would tell you what to round to, okay? Okay, so pause. Make sure you got all this beautiful work.
Good afternoon, Great Prairie Fine Arts Academy. I hope you had a good birthday.
Announcements are on.
Please be reminded, teachers,
Okay.
that we are all letting out at 4:15. If you have after-school duty, please be ready to walk out maybe a minute early. But no kids should be out of class at this time. No kiddos should be out of class at this time. 4:15 is when we release, unless you have outdoor duty, and then you're looking at 4:13. Thank you.
All right, let's look at the next one. The amount of fertilizer in a landscaping company's warehouse decreases. So first thing I'm gonna write, exponential decay. And if it's exponential decay, I know that this B value has to be between 0 and 1. And I know I have to do 1 minus R if it gives me the rate. At a rate, it gave me the rate of 3% per week. Okay. Go ahead and pause the video and convert that to B. So hopefully you actually pause the video. Some of y'all just copy me. Okay, so 3%, change it to a decimal, boom, boom. That'll be 0.03. And that's not B, that's still R. To find the B value, I gotta do 1 minus 0.03, which is 0.97. There's my B value. The amount of fertilizer in the warehouse was originally 78,000. What does this number represent? A. So we have our A and we have our B. What function models the amount of fertilizer in cubic yards left after W weeks? Okay. So we need to write our equation. Y equals 78,000 times 0.97 to the power of X. Okay, so X here represents our weeks. So they really want me to put W and not X. And Y represents the amount of fertilizer. After 5 weeks, how much fertilizer will be needed in cubic yards? So where am I plugging that 5 in at? Do y'all see why I labeled my X and Y? Do you see the beauty of just being able to know where it goes because we labeled it? Of course you do. Of course you do. All right. Pause the video. Put that in your calculator. All right, and you should have got something like 66,981. We're just gonna leave it like that. Cubic, what was it? Cubic yards. All right, 2 more, and then notes will be over. I'm eating a banana. All right. An insect population after X months. So what does X represent? Months, Miss Patterson. Can be modeled by the function g of x equals 18 parentheses 1.3 to the power x. Okay, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I actually want you to think about it. Here's my first question to you. What does x represent, and what does g of x represent? Pause the video, write it down on the paper. Okay, x is our months. And g of x is the insect population. Okay, here's my next question. What does 18 represent? What does 18 represent? Okay, if you said the starting population for the insects, perfect. Here's my next question. Is this exponential growth or exponential decay, and why? If you said exponential growth, correct, because our B value is greater than 1. Last question. By what rate did the insect population increase? right, so let's think about it. If to get our b value, we did 1 plus r. Well, if I want the rate, the r value, I have to do b minus 1. Right? So let's do 1.3 minus 1. That would give me 0.3. And then to convert it to a percentage, I got to move it 2 places to the right. And that would give me 30% increase. Oh my gosh, you are so smart. Rewind that back if you didn't understand. So what's the initial insect population? 18, and it increased by 30%. Okay, one more. We got this, guys. And please make sure you're pausing, writing those notes like we would be doing in class, okay? So that you make sure you understand and can do really well on this assignment today. A bank account earning annual compound interest was open, and no additional deposits or withdrawals were made after the initial deposit. The balance in the account after X years can be modeled by B of X equals 850, 1.025 per power of X. Okay, I don't want you to read the problem yet. I want you to dissect this. Tell me what everything means. Pause the video. Figure out what X represents, what B of X represents. Okay, if you said X represents years, good job. And B of X represents the balance in the account. Okay, second question. What does 850 represent? Are you answering the question? All right, it's the initial amount of money in the account. Is this exponential growth or decay? This is exponential growth, right? Because that B value is greater than 1. And by what percentage is it increasing by? Okay, so we know the B value is 1.025. To find R, we're going to subtract 1, giving us 0.025. And we got to move that over 2 times. That would be an increase of 2.5%. Okay, I hope that's making sense. So which statement is true? The initial balance of the account decreases at a, no, it's not decreasing. The balance in the account increases at a rate of 2.5%. Yep. The initial balance is 1,000. No, the initial balance is 850. The balance in the account after 1 year is 850. No, the initial balance is 850. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense, my loves. All right. For the assignment today, it is a long one. You are going to need to screenshot every quizzes. The Khan Academy practice, you do not have to watch the videos, but you do need to do the practice link and tell me 4 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 1 out of 4, how many out of 4 that you got correct or wrong. Answer each question that's in the box on that exponential board. There are 2 Google Docs, Google Forms, quizzes that you need to take. Screenshot both of those and submit those as well, okay? So any links that you see on there, you need to click them and complete that. Okay, you're awesome. Do amazing today. Make sure you come to tutoring in the morning if you have any questions. Bye.